Hi, welcome to Caribou Country Lifestyle. My name is Cheryl and today I'm going to be making some red wine. I have been doing making red wine from wine kits for probably the last 10 years, but I have been doing U-Brew wine with wine kits through a U-Brew where you go there and you just put the wine on. They deal with all of the mess and the procedure over the next 6 to 8 weeks depending on what type of wine kit you pick. And then you come back in 6 to 8 weeks, you bring your bottles, sterilize them, and then you bottle your wine. They deal with everything. Of course, you get charged for that service for them to do it for you. I like to do my wine at home, but I also do it at the U-Brew because I have friends that want to put wine on with me, and I'm okay with that too. I like both. So with this kit I have, and it is a 6 to an 8 week kit. I do like to do kits. I have not done a wine just from straight fruit or anything like that. I like you doing the kit because it gives me all the instructions that I need. In a kit, you will get your instructions and you will get oak chips, labels for your wine, yeast, and other additives that you will add to your wine as it goes through. You will also get a big bag of wine juice to make your wine. So first, we need to, I've already read through the instructions. That is usually the first thing that you want to do. But I'm going to take this label off that comes on the box, and you put it on your instructions so that if there is a problem with the process of the wine, if something is faulty or you have a bad wine in the end after when you've tried it, you at least have something to go on, and you can call the U-Brew company that produces those kits and maybe they'll be able to help you through it. We need to sterilize all the different materials that we're going to be using for making the wine. So with the sterilizing process, I have a bottle here that's filled with a sterilizing solution. It's a powder, and I pre-mix it into the spray bottle, and I find it easy with the spray bottle so that I can just, especially for in the tubes that you're using for siphoning your wine from one bucket to another, you can just spray it into the hoses and then rinse it out with hot water. I have so far, I've sterilized my hydrometer. You need a hydrometer, and that helps to follow the process of how your sugars of your wine turn to alcohol. This is what measures this is what measures during that fermentation stages. I also have sterilized my spoon, and then I just spray it with this solution and I rinse it off with hot water. I have a food grade bucket that I use for my fermentation, and I need to sterilize that as well. And then this is the lid to the fermentation bucket as well. So it's a primary bucket, and I just spray the whole thing really good. Rinse it with hot water. And I will prop that up over here. And now I'll spray this as well, my primary bucket. And I can get all down the sides at the very bottom of it as well. Okay. Rinse rinse that out. And I'm just going to give that a chance to drain out. I have 8 cups of hot water to pour in. This is the first step that you need to do. I need my spoon. And then what I'm adding is bentonite. It helps with the yeast activity and removes the proteins. And it is like a clay powder. I just pour that into the hot water, and then I'm just going to stir it. And you won't get it totally mixed in, and that's normal, but you're going to stir it and mix it in as much as you can. Next, I'm going to be adding my grape juice, and I just have to take the cap off first. It's quite heavy, and there's not really a lot to grab onto. And I'm pouring that grape juice into my fermentation bucket. You want to make sure you get all of it. So now what I'm doing is I'm just adding some water to this bag to give it a good rinse and get all of those juice in the corners of the bag out. Bring it around into each of the corners, and then I will just dump this in here as well. Okay, so as you can see here with the fermenting bucket, I have a black line here, and I drew that in because that is 23 liters, and that's because my wine juice hasn't come up to there. That is my marking of where now I need to add drinking water to make up the difference and bring those levels up to here. So I'm just going to pour this in. Until we're up to there. Okay, I want to stir this really good. To get that bentonite mixed in with the juice. I'm also going to sterilize. I have a little Wine Thief container here. I'm going to sterilize that. Give it a good rinse. And I'm going to take some of this wine and add it into this. And this is where the specific gravity measures come in. So I'm going to put that in. Oops, I've got that's too full. And what I want to find is that measurement. Here it's at 1.0000. Down here, this is 1.100. And we are at the 1.100. Because right now, those sugars in this wine haven't turned into alcohol. And as it ferments and those sugars do turn to alcohol, this specific gravity will sink down lower as the sugars turn to alcohol. So I need to write that 1.100 onto my instructions guide that gives me all the measurements that I need to follow. And I'll just give this all a rinse. Now that I've finished using that, I've moved my wine over to here, and the reason why it's over here now is because I have a trolley set up with all my wine supplies underneath it, and under this bucket I've also have a heat mat with a towel wrapped around it, and that's just to keep it at a consistent temperature to help with the fermentation. It's a little cooler down here in the basement, but one of the reasons that I do my wine in the winter time and when it's colder is because I don't have the fruit flies around here. And especially not like I do in the summertime when you have all that produce in the house and the bananas. I don't know what it is. It's obviously too cold for them in the winter to be coming around. But in the summer, within no time, I'll have a glass of wine out in the house and there are fruit flies flying around all over the place. And I just do not want to be starting up batches of wine when I know that there are fruit flies in the house. And that's one of the main reasons that I do my wine in the winter time. The other reason is I really don't have a whole lot going on in the winter time. So our next step, now that I've moved it over to here, is I'm going to be adding any oak chips that might have been put in with the supplies in this wine kit. Now these are French medium toast oak chips, and pardon me, they're just a very fine oak. It's not powder, but it's not chunky neither, not super chunky. I've had some where they are oak cubes. First time I seen that, I was like, seriously, I'm putting this in here? But don't question the rules. Okay, so I'm going to pour this in my wine, and then I'm going to give it another stir to get those oak chips distributed into the wine. And I'll do it both ways just to really get them stirred in there good. Okay. I have my primary lid as well, but I'm not quite ready. I'm not finished yet. The last step to doing the wine is you have to add the yeast. Sometimes I'll get 2 packets of yeast, and if you get 2 packets of yeast in a wine kit, you use both of them. I only have 1 with this one, so I will just be adding the 1. Now that I've added everything in and I'm not going to be stirring it anymore, I just sprinkle this yeast over top, and then I do not stir it. Okay, and then I've got my lid on here, and I'm gonna put it on, but I'm not gonna snap it all the way down because I need it to just have a little bit of air coming in also. So the wine that I'm putting on today, this is a Bobel Cabernet Sauvignon. I really like red wines. That is my go-to, especially in the winter time. I like red wine anytime, really, when it comes right down to it. I drink a lot more white in the summertime. That's when I prefer to drink the white wine, but I really like the red wine. So that's it. That's all there is to doing up a kit of wine. It's not that hard. As I say, I prefer doing the kits as opposed to using fresh fruit. So if you ever decide you want to start your own wine at home, there is an initial commitment to getting all of your supplies. I found a wine starting kit, and it came with a primary bucket, my siphoning hoses, the spoon, a brush for cleaning, the carboy, and I also got a plastic carboy, which you will see when I moving on to the next steps. Now this is going to sit for 2 weeks before I do anything else. So I will bring you back in 2 weeks' time, and then we will see what we're doing with our next steps for making our red wine at home. Thanks for joining me, and we'll talk again soon. Bye for now.